So usually I have everyone drop their stirrups. If you're not comfortable with having your legs here is where I usually have it, then you can have the person keep their stirrups and keep their leg in this position, and it still engages your core. But I bring their legs up and I have them squeeze his neck. He's really good about it.
Ozzy's such a good boy.
And then you want to go back. So right now I can feel it in my core, like just sitting here. But usually I'll have either the baton or a weight, and I'll do Russian twist where you go to the side. And you can go, the slower you go, the more it works it. Or I'll have them do like crunches and sit-ups. And then another thing is if they're very comfortable, I have them scoot forward. And this works a lot on balance and rotating.
And we know not many horses are going to deal with doing all of this stuff, but this is all stuff that you can do on the comfort of your carpet of your living room if you want to. But Ozzy is such a good boy, and he loves coming out and not having to go around and around in circles. So this is sort of a bonus day for him.
So another stretch that I do that works a lot on hip flexors, I have a ball, or you can do anything, or just push your hands against here, but it's more of a support to be able to stay open with your shoulders. So I have this here, I push against it, and then I drop my stirrups, and you want to work on having your leg in the correct position, and you take your whole leg off and go out, out, up, up. And I do that, and I'll have the girls do that maybe 5 times or 1 trip around, or I'll change it up and I mix up routines, so I'll go out, out, up, up, out, up, out, up. And this really works your hip flexors and the control through your core. Maya is doing a combination of different push-ups that we do. It is a lot of core strength, arm strength, and balance involved in all of these. This push-up is one of the hardest that I have all the girls do. You are going to go, it's like a normal push-up, but then you push your arms and legs out and then bring it back in. This is another angle of it. It's really hard, but helps a lot with all of their strength. These are called bent knee jackknives, and they work a lot on core. Hannah is doing diamond push-ups, which work a lot on control and strength through your upper body. This works a lot on balance, core, strength, and endurance, and it's pretty hard. Usually we start at like a minute, but you can start at 30 seconds if you need to. This is crunches, bringing your knees to your chest, so you're working your core even more than you would with a normal crunch because it's working it the whole time.
These are called TikTok lunges. So what you're going to want to do is do a forward lunge, making sure that your knee is above your ankle, and then do a backwards lunge. So your knee can almost touch the floor, but not quite. So it's going to look something like this. And then you can switch to the other side.
These are called split squats, and they work a lot on legs, core, and balance. Mountain climbers are great for endurance, but it also is great for your abs, hip flexors, and shoulders. Even small workouts, like 10 minutes a day, just helps keep your muscles in shape, and you can lose muscle pretty quick, so I have them keep going, and especially when they're not at the barn right now. But for like Aussie lessons, we usually do those for out-of-state people. We'll do them every day when they come, but for most people, it's just once a week. For one thing, I've struggled with that too, and I think because naturally, so I think an important part, especially when you're on a loftier horse, is just having flexibility through your arm, which I still work on now. The you have through your arm, the more control you can have so that you don't accidentally bump them in the mouth if they're bouncy or a little spooky or something like that. So I would say just keep working on relaxing these muscles. Well, I had that a lot. I really didn't get over my nerves until probably my last year of equitation. But I think one thing that I always did was I'd look up inspirational quotes or inspirational videos of anything I could find, and I'd write them all down. And I think that just helped me just get my mindset ready. I'm not really a person that likes to listen to music before I show. And another thing I do is I work. Like even since I was little, I'd help groom horses. I'd help get other people in the ring just so I wasn't thinking about me. The more I could think about other people and helping, the less I had time to think about what could go wrong or anything like that. And then I think also just staying positive, like through like thinking about what could go right in your ride, not what's going to happen, what's going to mess up. Because I'm a person I always want to be perfect and I don't want to mess anything up, which then I usually do if I think like that. So I just try to be positive in all of my thoughts before I show and ride my ride when I'm in there. I had to work on that a lot because my horse for senior equitation music is still probably the loftiest horse that I've ever ridden. And I always have struggled with having my knee pop my whole equitation career. So I would say just a lot of no irons. I did no irons all the time when I rode eq. I still do now, just to keep my inner thigh, I would say, is the biggest thing, and trying not to use your calf. And then one of the videos the video on Aussie of the hip flexors with the yellow ball, having your leg go out. I do that with pretty much all the girls with the hip flexors because it helps control your whole leg without just using your inner thigh or your calf. So I would say just keep strengthening and then ride as many bouncy horses as you can. When I did ride the bouncy horses, I tried not to use any suede on my jods because I wanted it to be as slippery as I could get it. So that way when I was in the show ring, it felt like I was glued to the saddle. So I always wore polyester until I aged out of equitation. I have ridden Western like on my own time. I haven't been taught Western or anything. But I did really enjoy it, but I don't really know patterns for Western. We actually just have a horse that's starting to do Western eq. And I've looked at the patterns and stuff, they're a lot different. But I think a lot of it is similar to saddle seat eq, is just a lot of control and just focusing on those small points to help make the pattern as a whole the best it can be. So for that, I would say similar to just keep riding any bouncy horse that you can get on, and then also ride the least bouncy horse that you can. I think sometimes it's easier when you don't have a bouncy horse, but I think a lot of the times the control that you have to have on a non-bouncy horse helps you when you are on a bouncier horse. Like one of our horses does not throw you up by the saddle, so I'll have them get on that horse and go as slow as they can. And the control that you have to use for those muscles for that will help you gain muscle to ride a bouncier horse and just stay in the center of the back. I think also a lot of balanced exercises. We have a home horse that I use, and I think that helps a lot too. That's helped me a lot. I've been using it lately, just while everyone's gone. I've been trying to think of more exercises to do on it, and it's definitely helped me find my center, which is key for when you're on a loftier horse that will throw you side to side. Yeah, you can do it like sitting on a chair just in the kitchen, if you or like a kind of bar stool kind of chair, and just push against the counter, and you can do that motion. I even do it standing up when I show people how to do it, and I can feel it work my hip flexors. Just keep your leg in right position and just have that control, but never let it rest. Never let your leg go down enough so that you feel it just relax. Just stay out and like push it the whole time. Every day. In life and at the barn. Equitation has taught me so much about just hard work, determination, and just work ethic in general. And it is unlike any other thing that I know of. I did dance and I did gymnastics, and equitation is just as much physical, it's a lot mental. And I think without that, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't be the rider I am. I use it every day when I'm working horses. Without that foundation, I don't think I would be able to learn as much as I have, as quickly as I have, because I don't have to think about my form anymore. And that was one of the hardest parts aging out of equitation, was that day. My trainer, Kristen, was like, okay, you don't have to worry about your form anymore. And I was like, but that's all I've worked on. That's for 18 years. I've pushed myself so hard to have that form, but it's definitely, once you relax and just let it be there, it's so much more natural. It helps you with every horse you're on. And it just helps you with life in general. Yeah, my first horse, his name was Almost Famous. He actually, now he's really good at patterns, but when I first started, we were just equitating him my senior year back, and he was definitely more of a nervous horse. A lot of it is how you are as a rider, and just, you have to breathe a lot. I am a very intense person and a very intense rider, so that energy would usually transfer to my horse. So I always had to think about breathing and just relaxing. And I think what I always thought was and I tell my riders this too, is you want to pretend like it's a preschooler or someone. You want to just hold their hand and take them through it and just help them, but you don't also want to just let them do whatever. It's be affirmative, but then gently. You just want to, I think a lot of it is just staying soft with your body, not getting tense, and using a lot of voice. I think I had to use more voice to be able to breathe than my horse really needed, but it just more helped me, which then helped my horse. Yeah, I had to work on that too. One thing that I always worked on was staying to the back of the saddle. And a little trick that I have for that is keeping your knee behind the stirrup leather. When you push it behind the stirrup leather, it will create like a little placement for your knee, and you can keep it right there. Once you have that and you push against the big toe side of your foot, it gets your leg quieter, so that it rolls your hip angle on, which sets your seat and uses your inner thigh and engages pretty much right when you do that. And then once you get that strength, you don't have to push back as far. But I used to always push back and push my knee behind the stirrup leather to hold myself, to then keep it just on my stirrup leather. So for the heels, what I have my girls do, especially if you have tighter calves, which I did because I was a dancer, so I always was working on pointing my toes. So when I was riding, I had to really work on flexing. I would stand on the edge of a stair and just push down as hard as you can and just like stretch it hard, and do that, like go up and down, really stretch hard every day if you can. And just long like day, but just continuously stretching that will help a lot, keeping your heels down. For keeping your leg quieter for a hunt seat, I would say still using your inner thigh. Just continue gaining that inner thigh muscle, and your hip flexors too. That will help a lot. I had to work on that. And just the more strength you get through your inner thigh, the better your legs are in general. My favorite part is hip flexors, because they hurt really bad, but then also it's not a muscle that you work every day. Like when you're walking or even cleaning stalls and using your arms and stuff like that, there's not a muscle or not a workout every day that works those hip flexors. So that's probably one of my favorite things to work on, because it was when I finally got control over my lower leg. Because I had my inner thigh strength for a while when I was younger, because I always worked on my inner thigh. I would sit on a saddle in my room and watch a half an hour of TV and just hold my form, no irons. So I had my inner thigh strength, but the hip flexor was definitely key to helping my whole lower leg stay correct. Whenever I go to canter a horse, I make sure that their weight is shifted to their back end. You have to have their weight shifted to then get the lead and step into it slow and collected. So I always sit down, I keep my hug of my calf on their belly, whatever lead you're getting, and I sit down, I do a little lift, sit, and then we say canter, cluck, and that's their signal every time. And when your body is secure like that and their weight shifted, they'll stay light and your body will stay there without accidentally bumping them in the mouth. I think for more of an auditory learner, I would say that the more you can explain it in different ways, the better that they understand. So I try and think of anything that I can to explain it, that depending on the age level. So with the little kids, like for getting their shoulders back, I say that they should pretend like there's a soda can between their shoulder blades and that they need to crush it. And that's how I work on having their shoulders open. Or if you're working on, like I pretty much think of anything that pops into my head. It will be weird sometimes, but if it clicks for them and they all of a sudden get it, then it works. And I think just I probably go through explaining things 5 different ways of just one thing to see, and I'll do it with some of my equitation riders. I'm like, okay, so does this make sense? No. Okay, I'll try explaining another way. Does that make sense? No. Okay, try another. And then once they finally get it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's just pretty much when you find that word that clicks, it sticks. I started riding with Lillian Gilpin, and she started me from when I was an itty bitty until I was about 7 years old. And we worked a little bit on equitation and just general. But then I moved to Kristen Cater at Cater Stables, and she loves equitation like I do. And she taught me everything there is to know about equitation, but also everything I need to know about everything. She knows driving, performance, equitation, and pretty much everything. So it's very well-rounded for my equitation career. One thing that I have every person do when they do a lunge lesson is use a stretcher band that you can buy. You can buy them at Walmart. They come in like light, medium, and hard. And I'll have them hold the stretcher band behind their shoulders without letting it touch the back, and just stretch this part a lot. And then, or you can use a whip or a broom or anything, pretty much anything that will just keep stretched through here. And then you can bring it behind your lower back too, and push your palms forward will also help. And I think just continuing to do shoulder rolls and just relaxing that upper body. Some of the girls I have to give like a back massage or shoulder massage before they show, just because they're tight. Or like a Theragun will help too. One thing is knowing the horse that you're on. So know if they're gonna stop quick or if they're gonna take a little bit. With the horse that I showed Eck, he stopped very quickly. And if you weren't prepared, then you were gonna go forward. So I think using your voice first, because all of our horses are very voice command, and giving a little bit of a signal before you say it, and then keeping your body back and landing smooth. The quieter you can keep your body and the more you can stay to the back of the saddle, the better they're gonna be and the less abrupt it's gonna be. If you sit down and sit back and they'll stop upright instead of going forward onto their front end. I would say just continue doing a lot of stuff off the rail. Whenever you're starting equitating a horse, I find that lead changes and everything like that, it's much easier for them to get it off the rail than on the rail. So if you want to do an incorrect lead, usually I canter on the correct lead and then canter to my quarter line and then stop an incorrect lead, just because we already have them bending, so it's easier for them to just step into it. And a big thing that I really like to do is create patience. So as much as you can, stop and pivot, walk and pivot, walk and trot, and just work a lot on transitions, and just keep it really simple, but just make it a confidence building workout every time, because the more that you can build their confidence, the better that they're going to be for everything that you ask them to do. Just build that trust and they'll learn quickly. Well, one of the girls that she had trouble keeping her chin up, if you put something cold here, you'll lift your chin up on your own. But then another thing that I heard is keeping your ears over your shoulders. That will help keep your neck back and then just lift your chin up. I had to work on that a lot because my body naturally gets very stiff in form. So I'd say when you're transitioning, just lower your post if you're going from a trot to a walk. we say land the airplane, but we go from like a normal post to a half post to a quarter post to smooth, to right on their back. I think the smoother you can make it, the better you're going to be. And I think another thing is just breathe. The more you can breathe, the more relaxed your body will be, and the better it will be. But one thing that I always did was I wrote pretty much everything down, and I think that helped a lot. I wrote every ride down, every lesson, every show, every pattern, and I wrote down everything that I did, right and wrong. And I'd always go back and look at them and just see how far that you've come, and write down positive things, things that people tell you, things that build your confidence, motivate you, things like that. I really like to look at those, and I think that always helped me look at how far I've come from where I've started, and how much I've learned, and how much I want to keep learning. That's a big thing, is I always want to keep learning, and you want to stay positive, and that's going to help you. If you're negative, you're not going to want to learn, and you'll just get mad at yourself, and it's just harder. You just want to be happy, and just think about everything, like just do it, and why you love the sport. Well, sometimes I do like to eat like food or some snacks like that, but similar to what I said earlier, is I work as much as I can. Usually I do a little bit better when I'm tired. when I've had too much sleep, I'm just thinking about everything and just wired. So if I'm a little tired and I'm more relaxed, the better I am. So just helping getting a little tired, and just when I get on, I just want to ride as hard as I can. And I just try to get that mentality before I go through the gate, and I'm like, let's do this. And that's usually gets me ready. That is my favorite thing to do. First of all, before you reverse, look around your ring. So pretty much when I come down from the canter, I'm looking for a spot, looking for the best plan that I can have so that the judge sees me and that I'm alone. What I always think about when someone says reverse cross medal, I think about one of my passes when I showed music in the medal. And watching that video, I just turned to the inside and I went down the quarter line. And that was probably one of my favorite moments. And I think that's what really catches their eyes, when you're the first one trotting and your horse is straight and up in the bridle and collected and driving down that rail, is when you're really going to get nervous. So just make sure you make that plan and then go for it right away. Post quick and bust it down that rail. The best advice that I've ever been given, this sounds kind of cliche, but to never give up. Especially during equitation, it gets hard and there's a lot of downs, probably as many downs as there are ups, a lot of hard lessons, but those are the ones that teach you the most. So I push through all of those, because after all of those, there's a big reward. So just never give up. And I'd say for future equitation riders or equitation riders now, work hard. Work ethic beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think sometimes I didn't have the talent that others had, and I think that my work ethic and being at the barn every day and just trying to help everyone, I think that mentality helped me a lot. And just the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get from everyone around you, from yourself, from your horse. So just work hard.